What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today, we're going to be going through and redrafting the top 10 picks in the 2017 NBA draft. So if you do enjoy this content, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below on who should have gone first, who should have gone 10th. I want to know. Let's have a full-on discussion. So without further ado, let's get right on into this. So this draft class, I wanted to start with just see if you guys would enjoy this kind of content. I really like doing a redraft, looking back on draft classes and just seeing who should have been and what teams got finessed, etc. So let's jump right on into this. Number 1 overall pick was Markelle Fultz. Realistically, Markelle Fultz would have been a fantastic guard in this league had he not been injury-ridden and just lost the ability to shoot the ball. Markelle Fultz was a guard that played for Washington, everything like that. He's somebody that was a dynamic playmaker for Washington, and he could score at a high level. Now, the Celtics initially had that first overall pick, and they knew the guy that they wanted. Danny Ainge is known as the finesser GM. He knew he wanted Jason Tatum, but he knew the Lakers were going to draft somebody else at number 2. So with Markelle Fultz being on the board as the top prospect, he called up the 76ers and was like, hey, if you guys want him, let's make a deal. They ended up finessing. So realistically, going back, it would have been Jason Tatum being the number 1 player on the board, best player in the draft class by far, or maybe not by far, but still best player in the draft class. You then pair Jason Tatum with Joel Embiid, and who knows whether they would be able to pair something together to win a championship. Next up here, the Los Angeles Lakers. I understand that the Lonzo Ball, LeVar thing happened and everything like that to get Lonzo to the Lakers, but in all reality, it wouldn't have gone this way. In all reality, like knowing what we know now with his injury history, similar to Markelle Fultz, he wouldn't have gone number 2. We are looking at Donovan Mitchell here at number 2, a dynamic guard to play with, the rest of this young roster that the Lakers had at the time. And that brings us to the Boston Celtics. So this Boston Celtics roster was still young, still developing and everything like that. So they probably would have gone with like a defensive anchor here. But I think that the best player on the board here, between Bam and De'Aaron Fox for the Celtics specifically, because obviously all the Kyrie stuff happens and everything, I don't think that they would go this route. I think that they would go De'Aaron Fox, get a dynamic guard, and that would kind of shake things up. That brings us up with the Phoenix Suns here. The Phoenix Suns drafting Josh Jackson, who tried, just couldn't get that offensive game to go in the NBA. So with Josh Jackson, it is interesting in the Phoenix Suns. I think that they would go with somebody like Lauri Markkanen here. Just a dynamic wing, unicorn-esque. And I know Bam Adebayo at this point is sliding, and he's sliding far. And he's somebody that would be drafted pretty highly, but Lauri Markkanen, All-NBA, just a guy that was averaging like 25 last season. Somebody that we look at as like, he obviously started off his career slow, but he's picked things up. And who knows, if he was in the right situation right off the bat, perfect for him, then he would go and already have been an All-NBA caliber player to start his career. That leaves us with the Kings here, who the Kings are going to, of course, they don't have John Collins. I mean, they don't have Domantas Sabonis at this time. So you're looking at, they probably are just looking at best player on the board, whether it's Bam Adebayo, but they probably want more offense. So we're going to take somebody who slid in the draft, somebody like Kyle Kuzma for the Kings. Kyle Kuzma, dynamic scorer, a guy who isn't going to be too expensive for the future and everything like that. But yeah, I think Bam Adebayo is sliding, but he has found his home, and it is in Orlando. Orlando needs, I put this theory out that Orlando could use a center, a center that can defend at least bigger than he is. And that's something Bam Adebayo can do. Wendell Carter is a solid player and everything, but we got to remember, Wendell Carter is not on this roster at this point in time. Wendell Carter is somebody that comes onto this roster later as the Bulls still are figuring out what's going on with their situation. And speaking of the Chicago Bulls, they are looking for talent. They are just looking to see, okay, what fits our roster. They had initially drafted Lauri Markkanen here, but because he went a lot higher, we're going to go with somebody that could just flourish. Somebody that he started off his career pretty rough because he went to a place that unfortunately did not fit him in Charlotte. It is going to be Malik Monk here. That might surprise some people just because obviously here you had guys like, OG or Jared Allen or Derek White even. But I think that they would just want someone exciting that can sell tickets at this point. And so that brings us to the Knicks. Now the Knicks drafted, unfortunately, the Prince of New York, Frank Ntilikina. They are going to go ahead and just get their guy early, and it's going to be OG Anunoby. He ends up there now anyways, but he's going to be there and just be able to lock down, defend, everything like that. So you can see some players are sliding here, but we're building for the future, so we got to think about this. Dennis Smith Jr., obviously we know in the future that they're getting Luka. So let's think about who would be paired really well with Luka. I'm going to give them Jarrett Allen as a defender and rim runner. We want to see that kind of thing right there. But another option for this roster would obviously be like a Derek White, or even John Collins wouldn't be too bad. But I think Jarrett Allen would fit quite well, as you can see what Derek Lively is doing over there now for the Dallas Mavericks. And then last but not least, the Portland Trailblazers. Now, Portland has Dame at this point in time. We're looking at, the wings aren't, the guard isn't really working. The guard pairing of CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, as we know, they're just too small and everything like that. So last but not least, we are going to be taking Derek White here on this list to pair him alongside Dame so that he could be that dynamic defender, and then they could just focus on getting some wings there. CJ McCollum at this point, you'd probably slide him to the bench, be that sixth man. I've been advocating for that for his time with the Pelicans, that I think he needs to slide to the bench. They need to trade Brandon Ingram and just let those young dudes, Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, flourish. So overall, obviously we saw a lot of these guys not get drafted, where they, Markelle Fultz not drafted in the top 10 in a redraft. Lonzo, same thing. Josh Jackson, Jonathan Isaac, Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith, Zach Collins. Now that's just something that can happen in a draft class, is everyone just missed. It was a weird draft because you had Jason Tatum, who got finessed down to 3 for the Celtics and everything like that. You had somebody like Markelle Fultz get sprung up, and, he was supposed to be this dynamic player, but injuries riddled his career. Same thing with Lonzo Ball. Josh Jackson couldn't figure out that offensive side of the ball. Jonathan Isaac been riddled with injuries as well. Somebody like Frank Ntilikina couldn't figure out the offensive side. Dennis Smith Jr. just should have been a typical dynamic guard. We thought that he might be like a Derrick Rose-esque player because he's got that athleticism. Zach Collins just couldn't build an NBA body quite to a T. So overall, I think that I did a pretty solid job. I think where I could have adjusted might have been like the Kyle Kuzma area. I know some people aren't super high on him, but I think overall I did fairly well. Let's just recap. So we have Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, Lauri Markkanen at the 4, Kyle Kuzma, Bam Adebayo, Malik Monk, OG Anunoby, Jarrett Allen, and Derek White. So if you guys did enjoy this content, do me a huge favor. Smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment down below what you would change here. Would you maybe put Kyle Kuzma a lot lower? Would you even draft somebody like Malik Monk at this spot? Let me know in the comments. So without further ado, it's been another Heart Over Height episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.